Hello everyone, Oscillator back again. So I have almost everything where I want it. Probably going to rearrange some of like the resources and stuff. Put them in another cabinet over there, just to kind of free up rack space. Because a lot of it doesn't really rack well. Um, hence why this is just sitting on DIUs. So yeah, plus that gives me a little bit more space just due to the fact that I have this many resources plus another moto bridge plus all the ports on the CCGW. Like, I have a lot more resources than I have room in this rack for, so they're probably just going to go over there. Might keep the DIUs, might not. Well, might keep them rack mounted, might not. Definitely putting this outside the rack. Getting that out of here. Probably maybe moving this. But granted, that really isn't much of a resource right now. That one though, that one's the resource, the analog resource that I'll definitely be moving. It's just sitting on top of one of the core routers right now. So yeah, start from the bottom, go to the top, and then go to the back. Alright, so this is just for people who are new, who didn't see this all before, but basically I've got a Dell R510 right here. This is just a NAS. Yes, I know that hard drive is pegged. I'm going to be fixing that. I know why. I just need to figure out a place to put all the data on this server besides, itself. Because I have to redo the array. Might get some high-capacity hard drives and put them in these last few slots. If I have this unlocked, I don't. Then just move them all over there and then redo this array. I'm working on it. I'll deal with that later. Above that, we have an HP DL380 Gen 9, not Gen 9, Gen 8. Little tabby thing broke off, and I don't know where to get new ones, so, trust me, bro. You can tell it's not a Gen 7 because it's got the space for the security bezel, which I might eventually get just so it goes along with my Dell. And then I might upgrade this one to a Gen 8 so I can also get the bezel on that because I like bezels. Yeah. Though on this one and this one I really don't get the point because, their power buttons are very accessible, and I kind of, the whole point of the bezel is so you can't just go around. Yeah. On this one, though, I think they moved it. Actually, I think they did the same thing they did with this, so it probably defeats the purpose. So might not. Only reason I have this bezel on here is because I had it, and I don't know what to do with it otherwise, so it just kind of stays there. It's not like I need to get back these hard drives. They're running all the time anyways, except for these two. These two I need to figure out how to add to the array right here without losing all of my data, because I'd rather not have that happen. So they're just kind of sitting there in place for the moment. I'll get around to them. Yeah, basically free NAS. Oh, there's dust off there. This handles my personal NAS duties along with being a hard drive, basically extra storage for the VM NAS up here. Well, not NAS, but VM server up here. We got this DL380, already went over that. This is the Astro core. This does anything and everything Astro 25. It's a 7.17 M1 core, so right now there's only one of these. Zero redundancy, no DSR yet. Working on that. It's just I kind of bought out all the cheap S6000 routers, and now there's no more. So now it's like, okay, do I spend basically 4 times what I spent getting the first core up just to get a DSR? And right now that's a no. So I'm going to wait for more S6000s to pop up for cheap, or I'm going to try and see if someone has some that I can just go yoink. So that probably won't happen for a little bit, but it works fine. As you can see, very busy. Traffic. Number 4 is the data NIC. I don't have a GGSN router, so that one's just probably going to stay as is for the moment. It occasionally blinks. I think the PDR VM is actually off, so there's actually nothing using that NIC right now, so yeah, that one's probably just going to stay fine. Above that, we have a DL360 Gen 7. This is my personal VM server. It also contains the network management clients for the Astro network, along with virtual patch position, MCC 7100 patch position, and then the PRX 7000 console proxy as well. So this one's got a pretty important job in relation to this. So yeah, these three servers are kind of all tied together. This one, half of its VMs are stored down here, so this one has to be on for this one to be on. For this one to have patch and remote ops, this one has to be on, so they're all kind of tied together, which is okay, I guess. Moving up, we have a new addition. We have the Nortel MG1000 cabinet. Let me see if I can get this off one-handed. I don't think I'm going to be able to. Nope, there we go. Right now it's empty. The CPDC card is about to get sent back because it's dead, and it actually kind of almost caught on fire. So I got a refund for that. I'm waiting for the MGC on here so I can start putting cards in it. But for the moment, there's nothing in there. I'm going back and forth what I want to put in there. I'm probably going to move my MyRAN cards from up here. I'll talk about those later. And move them down here into their own chassis. Might move the call pilot as well, but that sounds like a pain in the butt, so it's probably going to stay right where it is. And then when I figure out what wireless system I want, if I can run the Nortel Companion wireless phone system, I'll put its cards in here. But for now, that's just kind of looking there, glowing with its blue Nortel logo. So yeah. Above that, we have the very large MG1010. Let me open that up. If I could not drop it, gosh dang it. This one has the call server card. Its signaling server is running a VM on this box down here, so this one has to be on for both signaling servers to come up, and once both signaling servers are up, this card starts processing calls. So yeah, I'm working on getting a CP DC card, another one, putting that here so that one can run the call server and signaling server. That way I have at least one signaling server on here, and this thing can start taking basic calls. And I'll put what's called it's the NRS and the other thing, basically the proxy, the Unistip proxy for the IP phones, and I'll probably put that in the VM that keep that there. That way I can at least have basic functionality. All the MGCs, they don't need the proxy, so they just need the one signaling server that'll be on here instead of a VM. And then, if I ever do find another cheap CPDC card, I'll put that there and have that run the other signaling server, so it's all contained. But for the moment, that's how it is. Have that dangling there for whenever I get the CPDC, I can just plug her in. This MGU is the chassis controller, gives me all the fan status. I do have a PSU not working. I'm working on getting another one. The other one is good, so that's good. That red light is actually a good sign. However, if I was to get another call server and somehow get them matching, I could do redundancy. Then that turn orange or green, depending on if it's the master. MGC converts the IP that this system spits out. The call server and the signaling servers are all over IP. This converts it to TDM backplane for all the rest of the cards. Each chassis has one, unless it's an extension, which these can be extensions, but this one's a master. All of my MG1000s are masters, just because the cable is a pain to find, and it's easier just to go, oh, I don't want this in the rack anymore, I can move that elsewhere, give it ELAN and TLAN, equipment LAN and tenant LAN. Tenant LAN is just your normal connection, so nothing interesting there. And then comes up, and now I have a chassis that can do stuff. Analog trunk card, 2 T1 TMDI cards, haven't gotten these hooked up yet. Analog set card with message waiting, not hooked up yet and not provisioned yet, hence the red light on all 3 of these. MC8 MyRAN card, this is the first one. This will get moved down there, probably. I have a digital line card for the rack phone and an XCMC card, which provides caller ID for the analog card. This one will probably get moved elsewhere, depending on where I want an analog set. I have another MyRAN card. This one will also be getting moved down there. And then I have my call pilot. This provides voicemail, IVR, you know, all that fun stuff. So that's where this goes. I do want to get another one of these cards, so it'll go in there and fill up the rest. It's in major alarm, so I'm working out some issues with it, but otherwise, this is a pretty stable system. Hasn't gone down yet, even whenever I raised it up a rack unit to fit the MG1000 down in there. And to get that space, I actually had to remove a moto bridge. So as you can probably tell, I've only got 2, because the other one's sitting right there. This one's actually the one I need to recover, so it's fine that it's out of the rack. It actually makes it easier for me to recover it, because it decided to do a weird thing, and yeah, so that one's not functional for the moment. I've got these 2 motor bridges. This one right here is the main RGU. This is just a member RGU, and I've got a compact workstation unit. Can't really take a picture of that from in here, but you know, that allows me to have a dispatch position for the motor bridge system. A physical one. Don't know what I'm going to do with that now that I've got. Well, we'll talk about that later, but I'll figure something out. This just has 3 resources, 2 of which go to the CCGWs above. This one goes to the XG75. Alright, I am working on adding more to this, so these are, yeah, in progress. Above that I have 4 DIU 3000s. Only 1 is turned on right now, the rest are all hooked up, but they don't have a purpose yet. This one has a 3.5mm jack going up to this computer. Then it's got a jumper on the back that constantly PTCs it. It's just I need to make the V.24 cable for this. Got an Astra Spectra VHF on local ham repeater. This is hooked up to the CCGW above. We have this, if you know, you know. Then I have, this is for the CTRS domain controller. I have my personal domain controller on the VM server down there, but this is the CTRS domain controller. It also runs some VMs for just 0-tier to physical network patching, basically, along with being a serial server, so I can remotely do stuff on the call server down here. So it's hooked up via RJ45 to DB9, because it's meant to go into a terminal server, which I'm working on getting, because that'd be nice. But yeah, here we have, this goes to site 105. This goes to my local network, so I can access all my stuff remotely. Then this one goes to the core. I do also use this as a remote access server for the NM clients, since those are purely on the Astro network versus you know, just on the public network. So I have to go remote into this and then remote desktop into the NM clients and then go from there. Power supply, this is a converted Nortel server power supply. I actually quite like these. I'm going to get more whenever I see the guy next. I didn't make this, however they're really nice. Come with ground fault protection, you know, all that, overheat, they come with a fan. They can do about 600 watts continuous output. And about 800 watt peak, so very nice for powering radios. 12 volt, very clean power supply, so yeah, love these things. I have 2 of them now. One's actually powering the wide area site. Hasn't failed yet. UHF consulate. Working on hooking this up as an ACIM resource. It's actually this one right here. It's just, I think the board in this is bad. The ACIM board, so I'm getting a new one. This will definitely get taken out because it doesn't just take up 2U, it takes up, it has this little flange going above it for no reason. You know, it stops right about here, so this is only a 2U brick. Stops, and then basically makes this next U up basically worthless to me. I'm using the space as a pass-through, however, I can always change that if needed to get more space. Then we have the GGM, if it will focus, gosh dang it, there we go, the GGM 8000. I was very lucky to pick one of these things up on eBay for about 250 bucks. Haven't seen one come up again, especially not with the CCGW module. So, yeah, I am stocking it though, so I will find another one, I swear. These things are really nice, especially if I can find another one with the dual row. It's the HD8 module versus the HD4, because they're in groups of 4. I actually can't use these ones. Each one of these ports is paired with a yellow port. So this one is port 1, this one's port 2, this one's port 3, and then this one is port 4. And then if I do ACIM, now I have where this port is paired with this port and paired with this port. So I really can only get about 8 individual resources if they're all V.24 over here and all analog over here. Which is, you know, still better than only 4 on the S2500, which is also a CCGW. Pick these things up for about 100 bucks. I'm working on getting more, but I'd like to get more of these, but honestly, you know, so I'm probably going to get more of these S2500s. Above I have the conventional site controller. It's not online right now because I'm working on getting the firmware I need to actually make it a conventional site controller versus, you know, a trunk site controller. I might just get some Quantars and make it a trunk site controller because, yeah. It'll be fine. I'll deal with it later. We have Site 105's LAN switch. Site 105 is powered off this router. This one is Site 230. It's connected directly into the core LAN switch, so it doesn't have a thing. I might move it to Site 105, but I might not. I'll figure out what I want to do with it. It's probably fine. So yeah, that has all the resource connections for that. It has the firewall connection for the remote ops. Then it has a connection back down to the VM server for the actual VMs running it. I have a TB9100 repeater up there. It's an alarm right now. I'm going to figure out why tonight. I'll deal with it later. UHF, not used for anything right now. It's just kind of sitting there on. I'll eventually connect it into the CCGW, but eventually. I'll get around to it, basically. Yeah. So these DIUs are going to be connected to the GGM. At least 3 of them are, because I have now 1 port being used for ASIM. So, yeah. Deal with that later. We have a Nortel M3900 phone. You know, it's... it's just a phone. It's connected to the Nortel on that digital line card. So, yep. Today I might go grab like a piece of plywood and like drill some holes into here and bolt it onto here and use it as a master distribution frame. Haven't figured out what I want to do with that yet, but I'll come up with something. Now on the back. This is for the Nortel. Ooh, excuse me. This takes the equipment LAN and makes it where I can have remote cabinets without having to run another pair of wires throughout the house, which is not going to happen. I would be murdered, basically. So, yeah, that's how I'm doing it. It works just fine. All ELAN does, it doesn't have any voice, it just has control messages. So it doesn't need to be particularly stable or any of that. Then we have the gateway router for the Astro network. It's the only gateway router I have. No redundancy, you know, YOLO. Then we have Core Router 1. Core Router 1 handles the local stuff. You know, 233, basically all of the local core routing, and then all of the local site routing. So that would be Site 105 right now. Site 105 and I think Site 109 will eventually be added in for the wave connection from the motor bridge to the core, so I can add those resources in as available resources to the op. So that's all that this does. I might convert the link from 105 to the core to T1 just because, you know, funny. Here we have the core LAN switch, working on filling it out eventually. Right now this is, you know, the busiest module for all the core connections. NM client and core site 130 for the front CCW. We have more CCW, well, not CCW, but this goes to more NM clients, and then this is the link to site 227, which is where my actual console op is, which is in other room. This is the backhaul switch. I did a no-no and I had Core Router 3 and Core Router 1 share the backhaul switch, just so I could justify having it. However, I'm probably going to fix that because I think that's causing issues with packet loss and all sorts of weirdness, so I'll correct that later. This is the FortiGate firewall that takes Site 105 in, does stuff, and then shoots out. Basically, I have this connected to that front Optiplex. Then that's shooting that over 0 tier. Let's see if that focus that. So that's all this does. It's off right now because I'm doing some work on it and some testing. So it's just sitting here right now. This is a DVM bridge instance running on Windows. Shoots it out to this USB sound card right here. I'm going to work on getting more. And all of this is just going to be shooting CTRS to analog output to the Motorola Astro system. So that's all this is going to do. This is definitely going to get moved down there. Don't mind the mess you just saw. Just ignore that. Here we have Core Router 3. This handles all the 0 tier ops, all 0 tier connections for the sites, because this one, basically all this does is this handles layer 2 stuff where it's local in the rack. This handles layer 3 where it has a gateway, which is that Optiplex right there, the one that's on the front. So that's all this does. That's different from Core Router 1. So yeah, the way it works is stuff goes to the gateway for all the local networks. So it goes gateway, shoots it to Core Router 1 by default. I probably will fix that so it doesn't rely on this one. Core Router 1 then goes, oh, it's site 69 or site RF site 22. Shoot it down here to Core Router 3. Core Router 3 shoots it over port 3 to the backhaul switch to the router. So I'm probably just going to connect the router directly onto here. Well, the gateway directly onto port 3, so I don't have to deal with this weirdness that's happening. More PDU. Let's turn on this. We have the back of the Nortel switch, all the back of the DIUs, back of the motor bridges. Ignore that, that's temporary. I'm working on getting another PDU to replace that. This is the ELAN switch because I ran out of ports on here. I need to deploy the other Netgear 48 port I have. Just haven't gotten around to it. So this is handling the equipment LAN since it's completely cut off from the rest of it. All these yellow cables are the TLAN. Teal is normal equipment LAN. This is my connection to the outside world. And then white is Astro related LAN connection. So yeah, and then purple is stuff that goes to a VPN box, And then blue is I ran out of cables, but I still need to make a connection. So yeah, and no, this does not connect this to this. These are two separate cables. These will get replaced with probably teal later. I just need to work out a time to do it. Here's the back of the MG1010. It's pretty loud. I don't know how easily I'm being heard, but basically this one's dead. I'm working on replacing that. This is for the Myren cards. I just take this from card to card. It's not needed for their functioning. It's just for like remote management and file upload. We have the two T1 cards right there. That converts the RJ21 to an RJ45 for just normal T1 connections. Yeah, they got blowers in the back and they're really mad right now. Let's see if I can shoot that in there. Call pilot is that one right there at the bottom port. Let me see if I can reach my hand around. This is for the call pilot cable. It has serial and then its Ethernet links. Nothing too interesting there. Then analog line. Well, yeah, analog line. It's wired up. I'm working on. I'll configure it later once I have an analog set in the rack or something that needs analog. Analog trunks, and then digital trunk down there at the bottom. All that goes. Well, we have two of them going to the 66 block, which then distributes it out to all the various ports. All this will probably get moved to MDF on the side of the rack that I need to make. Then of course we got our SIP boxes for right now until I can get that T1 connection up. This is what's handling my backhaul to the public internet, well, public switch telephone network. I'm working on provisioning this one and getting it turned on. And then we just have the back of the servers. Nothing too interesting there. Yeah, and that's about it. So let me know if you have any questions, of course, and I'll try and answer the best of my ability. I am limited in what I can say about Astro, so don't ask too many about those, but you know, I can answer a lot of stuff, just not details. So you guys have a good day.